Alright, we're back. Now we're by myself again. Okay, this distributor right now is really thick on the grease or something that doesn't want to work. So I got to take it apart and see what the problem is. Is it just because it's frozen or is it because there's something wrong with it? It's definitely cold enough in here. So it's an auto distributor, so you just have two nuts here that hold it together. Okay, it's definitely the later style distributor. So, this is supposed to be free. Appears to be a little unfree. There we go. Alright, that was not working very well. Thought there used to be a couple dowel pins in there for stops, but appears there's none in here. Now, see how that weight doesn't do anything? That's one of the problems with these stupid auto advanced distributors. Okay, see how that one does spring back like it's supposed to, but very lightly. This spring here, it's not doing it. So I need a little more tension on that. So usually what I do is I bend the spring a little bit more. Try to anyway. Still not enough to do it. If you go enough, it'll spring back, but it's not really coming back very good. So what we're trying to do is bend the spring a little bit sharper here in this 90 degree right here. Like that, which will actually make the spring tighter. There. See, I got a little tighter that time. I'm going to try that again over on this side. The problem with this is you got to hold it right here so it doesn't slide off the pin. So you can bend the damn thing. So now it's actually returning. Let's go check the other one. This one's pretty good, but the hell, it'll work good on the other one. Let's try a little extra on that. There. These things don't have anywhere near enough tension to work correctly, so whatever you can do right now is going to help them work. This is why the bikes won't idle down. They'll stay up there at high idle and won't come back down, and all of a sudden they drop like 400 RPM and then die. It's because these things are way too weak. Still could use more tension on this one. Alright, those are lubed up. Now, I'm assuming this is just all gummed up is why it doesn't want to work. It's definitely not going down. Appears to be almost dry on whatever it's got for lubricant on here. which is also not a good thing. See it stay fully advanced wherever you put it. Clean the crap out of it would help. Okay, put a little cleaner on the end of it here. Okay, so a little bit of solvent here on the end of it. Let's try putting it on there and freeing it up a little bit. It made a big difference just doing that, obviously. See, now it's returning now, see? All right. Blow it off. All right, let's see how it works now. Right now you can see how it drops right down in either spot. So it's pretty free. It's good. Works freely also this way. Okay, so we got it where it kind of works now. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of, I'm going to put some tribal grease on it because it's got some good qualities to it I like. The stuff will hang in there pretty good, so it won't sling out at high RPM. It's got stuff in it that makes its work stay in there a long time. So try that. The disadvantage is it's going to be a little bit thick. It's nowhere near as thick as it was. Okay. Now, take the springs off right here. These are just held on with a little dowel pin. Take your fingernail, move it down, flip it up with the other nail. It comes right off. You can pull these weights off. Put a little bit of grease on the pins over here because they're dry, just like they always are. That's the problem with mechanical weights on a Harley, they run dry. They don't live very long either. Probably because there's no lubricant on anything. Okay. A little bit over here in the slot area here. That's where it rubs on the weights. That's this area right here. Now these have hardened bushings, and that's why they live a lot longer than the newer stuff. On the new bikes, the 70s stuff, they don't put anything in there that makes them live, so they make them out of the same junk the weight's made out of, so there's no reliability to them at all. The aftermarket heavy-duty weights, are made out of better material, so they live longer, but they still have the same issues. They run dry and tear themselves up. Alright. Stuff on there. Ah, damn, spring's in the wrong spot. There you go. Get it all worked in. I get it worked all the way around the pin there. Okay, once it's in, now you go ahead and hook the spring back up. Just a matter of putting it over the dowel pin. And the spring is also what holds the other weight on, so just use your fingernails, all it takes to re-engage it. They still are returning, mostly. Definitely a little stiffer than it was. Okay, there's our weight. See, it still doesn't want to return back right now because the grease is cold and thick. So at least it's lubricated now. Before it was all locked up, it was gummed up. It doesn't quite return all the way right now. When things warm up, it'll work a little better, but like I said, the system at best sucks. Alright. Now we put a little bit of a lubricant on the shaft there too. Doesn't hurt. Get a block here with a point rubs on them. Put a little bit of grease on there. Okay, see what the points look like. They look used. What a shocker, huh? Got a little diamond file I clean those up with. Oh, everything's hidden. Can't get to it. Alright, there's my diamond file. It actually does have diamond on it. Okay, put that between the points, right like that. Now if you put on the rubbing block, that cocks it, so don't do the rubbing block. You can put a light tension out with your finger to hold a little more tension on there if you want. Okay, once it sounds like it's doing an even pull on it, pull it out. Okay, well, the best thing for cleaning is paper. Drag it through the point, take a little bit of tension off so it won't tear the paper. See how you get grit on there? A little more. And see, now it's clean. So that's how you do it. If you have the grit in there, the point won't quite work right. So, all right, so that's all set. Now you go ahead and put this back together. Doesn't matter which way it goes, so if it fits, I guess. No, this one does matter. Okay. It doesn't matter where the point lobe is at, though. Okay, so the nuts, the bolts are slightly or not symmetrical, so they only go in one way. It doesn't matter where the cam is at because of the universal design of the distributor. On the earlier distributor it matters, but not on this one. This is the first year of this distributor, 67. 65 and 66 were even worse than these. Okay, we're going to tighten it up. You don't need a lot of torque here, just pull it and good though. All you do is hold the distributor together, it's not like there's any real load on it. Okay, now I want to make sure that this actually works this time. There you go, see how it works? It advances and retards on you. Now that's important because when you're timing the motor, you have to advance this thing. Okay, this one turns clockwise. Later bikes turn the opposite way, counterclockwise. Okay, so now we know which way it goes. Okay, this O-ring in here is good. It's above the surface, so it should be fine. Should seal. Alright, so this is ready to drop in the motor once you get the timing set. Okay. Now, to set your motor here, you have to get, we're on top dead center, but which one is compression, which one's overlap? There's a difference. So when you look at your lifters, see how these two look like they're fairly close in height to each other? Look how high up they are in the bore. See how these ones are pretty equal, but look how low they are. So these are on compression stroke, these are on overlap stroke. Now if I go over here and turn my handle, over here, which I took off. Okay, now if you watch, these lifters will move as soon as I move this handle over here. See how the lifters are moving? That one's going up. That one should have dropped, it didn't. So we're on the overlap stroke. See the piston's going down now. So now these are all the way down. The piston's coming up. These ones over here are now moving, see? See how they're moving? So now this is on the compression stroke, firing stroke. So that's going to fire right there. Because these are all the way down. And this is like on top dead center where it belongs. So that's where these two lifters belong. This is where you adjust the valves at too, not on the overlap stroke. On the overlap stroke you got one up, one down. That is not how you want to have it. So just turn it over again until it goes back around. There you go. Okay, now the problem I have right now is I need to turn the motor forward. I got a lot of oil in it which I didn't want to turn forward, but I have no choice. You can't put the distributor in the bike until you turn forward. I like going at least one full revolution, which is 2 turns actually, one revolution to the distributor before you do it. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn the motor slowly, so hopefully the oil will stay in the crank. The piston's going down. See the exhaust valve is opening right now. You watch the intake lifter start to move a little bit over here. Right there it's moving, and we're at the compression stroke, see? There's the overlap. Both lifters are moving right now. See how they're both moving? Piston's going to go back down now. Now if you adjust the valves at that point, you'll have real loose valves. Because they're going to go down to the 100th thou or 1/8 inch time they drop. Okay. So, timing mark on the motor is about 7/16 inch to 3/8 of an inch down. On the big twin it's probably about 3/8 down. This has a little bit about right there. That might be just slightly past. So we have to go over here and check for our mark. think I'm just past it right now, but we'll see. Yep, see, mark's just past it right there. Okay, this is good enough for now. So right now the point should be slightly open, wherever it comes in at. Okay, now I'm going to have a clamp for holding this and a nut. Looks like just a fine thread nut. And here's the clamp. See a nut anywhere. Appears to not be here. I usually like using a lock nut so it stays where it belongs. So that's a fine thread nut. So we'll go over and get a brand new fine thread nut. Wood wrench. Way over here. There we go. Look at the threads, double check it. They look good. Okay. Make sure that's the correct thread. Oh, look at that. Goes right on. Okay, so now we got to put the distributor in the hole. Now we already know this turns clockwise. So this is on the wrong side of the lobe right now. See that little line right there? That's where the points will fire when it's advanced. Okay, so there we go. Now you got to figure out where you want this wire to be at. Now usually the wire is on the back side over here when it goes into the motor. So if you want it over here, you got to time it over here. So right about like that, should be close. Okay, let's go ahead and drop this thing in there and see where it's going to come out. It's a worm gear, so it's going to rotate as it goes in. All the way down, yep. Okay, wire's right there on the back side. It's a good spot for it. We're a little bit far advanced. Let's see, that's actually going to be over here because this is going to advance on us a little bit. It's going to be about right there. So we can either have the wire right there or we can move it one tooth up and put the wire a little bit further forward. I'm not sure where this wire is set to be at. So my guess is we go up one position, rotate one tooth, that's the spot where the other tooth is at. There's one more tooth. Okay, so you got to advance this here, rotate with that hand. Okay, now our wire's right here. I think we're in about a good spot. That might be the same spot too. It's hard to tell with one hand. Okay, let me double check this with my two hands so I can tell better what's going on here. All of the stuff we're doing matters here. Okay. I think we're in a good spot. We'll check to see where the next notch is though. That's way too far. That had to be more than one gear. More than one tooth, I should say. Okay, we're back on that spot again. Keeps going back to the same spot. It don't like any other spot. That's the next tooth. The next tooth puts the wire way over here. Weight going straight back, which is not what we want. We want to be over by the cylinder. Okay, so one tooth is about 70 degrees of rotation of the distributor, it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there is where we want it. Put our clamp in here. Put a nut on here. You put pressure on this till the distributor don't want to turn no more. Okay. It's getting pretty hard to turn. You can still move it, but you don't want to move very fast, that's for sure. About right there. Okay, so I put the wire way back here now. Once we get everything torqued down, it keeps rotating. The rotation keeps changing. So now my wire is way back over here. So I'm one tooth too far back. So I need to move it back another tooth. See, originally this slot was way over here. Now it's way back there. You can't even get to this, so this needs to be rotated so you can get to this wire. At least. Normally you want this thing like over here where you can get to it in the bike, but I don't like having this other wire way back there. Okay, so I'm going to have to move this up one notch. Put it where I can get to it better. Which means you get to take this whole thing back off again. Oh, the stud's coming out this time. Wonderful. I'm just got to put a little Loctite on the stud so it'll stay down. Unscrew the nut off the stud now and the vise over here. Okay, I put the nut about where I want it to be. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of blue Loctite on the stud here. I'm going to put it back in the case. It should stay where I want it to be. There we go. Sounds like an ambulance. Okay, so let's get our distributor back in where we want it to be this time. So that needs to be about over here. was. There. Sure seems like that's more than one tooth, but that's where it comes in at. Okay, so now we got it, wires over here now instead of over here where it was. Now, you have a couple things going on. You got backlash in the teeth here, so they got backlash. So, you want to make sure you go counterclockwise on that because that's the load direction. Because this advances clockwise, which means the load is reverse. So when you're figuring out the load of this thing, you have to put pressure on the screwdriver this way, hold this one fully advanced, and then rotate the distributor to time it where the point just cracks. Of course, you got two hands to do that, right? That's like 4 hands worth of work. That's why these centrifugal advances are a pain in the butt. Just one more reason why. Okay, and I haven't even set the point gap yet here, so I don't even know where it's going to be 100% just yet. A lot of times you use a little pair of channel locks to advance the load. You can also use a screwdriver to pull on it a little bit if you want. My problem is in my location here is where I can't see much. Maybe somewhere in that area there. Remember, the crank's not in the right spot yet either, so we're just kind of roughing it in right this moment. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the motor around 2 turns, which is 1 revolution of the distributor. I'm going to put drag on the teeth here, so all the gears down there are going to have a single load path to them, which is the load direction. One turn the crank. Next time around will be the real one. Okay, now I can look for my timing mark over here. Okay, timing mark is in the middle of the hole right now. Right there. So now we gotta go over here and so we gotta keep tensioning the screwdriver here, counterclockwise, tighten this clockwise. And the point should just crack when I get the cam fully advanced, if it's done correctly. I can put an ohm meter on here or test light depending on whether we got the power of the bike or not. Right now I'm not going to do it 100%, I'm just going to get it close. We can do the final for when it's in the bike. But for now I want to get it close. So right now I'd say we're about 2 degrees advanced from this location because I can see the points just barely move. It's just barely moving right now when I crank this thing all the way forward. So it's hard to see it, but it's all right. So I'm good with that. Now I have not checked the point gap yet. I do need to take that That should have been checked beforehand, but anyway, the next time around here is the point gap. So you go past the point, opening point right there. You see how there's a gap right there right now. This is my point feeler gauge, these little small feeler gauges. So we want to have it's 18 to 22 is what you want. Usually I put things at 22 when you're doing a fresh job, because things are going to break in and wear. This one looks like it's pretty tight. Yep. So this point gap was not even close to where it needed to be. See how much it closed? Okay, so you have to undo the screw here. This is on the eccentric, and you lightly move it until you got it. And that will change the timing by a few degrees. Everything we do makes a difference to timing. Okay, where's my screwdriver? Right here. Yep, the whole distributor just moved on me. That does not help the situation any. There. Tighten that down. Okay, the points are right there now on our number. So it's just enough it's not falling out of there, see? It's got just a little bit of tension to it. Probably half a thou off. Okay, so we got that set there. Okay, I'm going to have to do a full spin of the crank again. The distributor moves, so I don't know where I'm at right now. I lost my precision alignment. Okay, it's alright, keeps the crank loaded up. I always do this multiple times, make sure it's 100% on. Usually I like doing everything 3 times in a row. Same every time or it's not right. Okay, line's right in the middle of the hole again. Right there. Okay. Lock this down. Now when I'm holding this back here, I rotate the cam. You can see how the point just opens a little bit. That's because I'm not holding this back right up here. So it's giving me a false number there, but that's pretty close. And our mark is in the center of the hole over here. So we're good. And you can see we're about 3/8 of an inch down from where the piston goes to. So it's roughly where you're at. So there's different ways you can do things. So you can stick time if you want also. That's where you put a stick in there with basically a screwdriver, and you can mark this all the way up, mark the screwdriver, and then next time around you go 3/8 of an inch down, you go to that mark, and that's called stick timing. It's not 100% accurate, but if you got no marks on your flywheels, it gives you a rough idea. It also allows you to check the rear cylinder timing because there's no mark usually for that. Some of these older motors they do in the 60s cranks, they will have those marks because they had dual point distributors in the 60s, so they'll have 2 marks on the flywheel. Later than that and older than that, they usually don't do it. Okay, so for now this one's all timed up. So we got that locked down right there. The wire is going to come out right here, which tucks in nice and cleanly. Would be good. Our cover goes on right here, right over it. And the screw is right when we get to it. We can also get the screw here for the points to work on the points down the road. It's always nice when you put stuff where it belongs. There we go. That goes right there. Down the groove. Boom. screw goes back in that, we're good to go. Now I'm going to leave the cover off because I can't get to the bolt here with this cover on, the head bolt. So I'm just going to lightly leave that on there for now. I'll put the screw in here so we won't lose it. Yep. Gotta hold it down. A lot of times you put a little lock washer under here too. I don't know why it doesn't have one on it, but oh well. Alright, so that's good for that. Like I said, this is only temporary because I'll come back and redo it. I'll recheck all that again, and this has to come off to put the head on it. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone. Put this back in here so that you don't get any dirt in here. You don't want no dirt in your motor here when you're working on it. It's not tight, it's just flush. Alright, so that's how we do these motors here. So that's what it's going to look like for now. So for now we can go ahead and put this thing back in the frame right here. It's all done at this point. I'll put the heads on the bike when I'm done because the heads aren't done yet. These are the heads right here. Obviously they're not done. That's what it's going to look like when I get them done. So anyway, so I'll put them on later. So this is just that's a good point to work. It's easy to carry the motor like this. It's a lot lighter. It's easier to put in the Frank. You don't have all the stuff up hitting high, so you got more room to work with it. So anyway, that's where we're at for now. We're done with this one for now. And we'll get back on this in a few days.